I was always working when I was coming up through school and everything else. I was always doing a night job, and had my day job apprenticeship. I was doing overtime. I was always working and riding my bike. And I always had the courage to get out of bed early, train before going to doing a day's work, or finishing a day's work and training till all hours of night. That took a certain character and a certain courage to do. Then also, when I decided I was going to France, I hadn't been away from home for any more than a weekend, and here I am telling my parents, listen, Dad, I'm off to France for a couple of months, hoping to go to the Olympics. Maybe a contract, but I'm heading away. I'm going to live in an apartment. Don't know where it is. It's Rue de Bellevue in Boulogne. Don't know where that is, but I'll get a taxi. And hopefully it'll be okay. I've worked all winter time. I've got enough money in my pocket to last a year. So that took a certain amount of courage to go away. And then I always remember when I won the health race here in Ireland, the Ross Halton health race, looking at some footage of it, and lying back in the bed with the yellow jersey on my shoulders, and the journalist is saying to me, well, Stephen, you seem to have something special. What's your plans for the future? I'm saying, yeah, everybody's telling me I'm special. Okay, I've got a good pedaling style I can go for. So really what I want to do is leave a mark, leave an imprint on the sport. And, I'm looking back on it now 30 years later and saying, well, it wasn't a good job. I did well, because otherwise I'd be marked off as being a very pretentious young kid. But that's another sign that I was always ambitious and hardworking, and for me the task was never going to be too big. It was basically, it's out there. I'm going to be competing against other human beings, and with the training, dedication, ambition, and self-belief, maybe I can do like them. But I think it was something you always had during all your life, whether it be in school, whether it be working with my dad on the milk rounds, whether it be just cycling. There was always a certain kind of side to me, which was always there in reserve to cover certain circumstances, certain occasions. It was difficult for a number of reasons. One was because I had filled up the pockets of my teammates for the first 6 months of the year by winning a lot of races. I'd come to the Giro on level par with my teammate who was the previous Giro winner, but I felt I should have had because of my track record of that year, and because of a lack of track record in his year so far, 87, I felt we should have been on equal par. And I'd lined the pockets of my teammates all year. I had looked after them all year. I get to the Giro, I have the pink jersey on my back for 11 days. I defend the jersey tooth and nail, right down to the bone, with Roberto Visentini sitting on my wheel all the time. It was very frustrating. Then I lost the jersey to Roberto. And what was difficult to accept was the fact that it was as if nothing ever happened. It was as if Roberto had just kind of turned the lights on, and all the lights were on him, and everything I'd done all that year had just been neglected for nothing. And that wasn't the main thing. The main thing was when Visentini was asked, well, now you have the jersey, the deal now will be Roche will ride for you. When you go to the Tour, you will ride for Roche. And when Visentini, honestly said to the camera, well, no, Roche will ride for me now, but I'm not going to the Tour, I'm going to the beach. And that really kind of got my blood boiling, because here he was telling me down the camera, this is one way, where that didn't appeal to me at all. I was prepared to share, but I wasn't prepared to everything to go down his way after everything I'd done that year. So it was very unfair. So that was when I started looking in the road book to see, are there opportunities the next few days where this thing could be reversed without myself actually attacking, because I couldn't attack my teammate, which is normal. I won't say in a comparison. It was Dave Brailsford, the manager of the Sky team, is intelligent enough and has a firm hand on his men, and I think he basically he had a very courageous decision to make, and he made it. And I think that the tour suited Bradley because of the time trials. It didn't suit Christopher, and I don't think Christopher would have won it, even if he had kept going that famous day where he took off and all of a sudden his brakes went on or parachute went out. I think that there was still, he lost too much time in the time trials that he still wouldn't have won the Tour that year. I think last year, if Bradley had been there, Bradley wouldn't have won anyway because Christopher, the route was suited more to Christopher. So there was no real internal fighting. Like, I would have more or less compared my show to the Armstrong Contador Astana affair. That was more the line of myself and Vicentini. There was a psychological battle there as well between two people that were equivalent in form, and it caused a lot of problems.